The hardest tournaments to win are the opens.
No doubt, no doubt. Just
I
one
agree
on
with that.
Kissimmee Chain. I think there was what, like 225 boats or something?
Yep. 225. Yep.
Did you hear the Gunnersville tournament? I think it's a Major League Fishing tournament. 325 boats.
Yeah, and it's being led by smallmouth coming out of Wheeler. What about that?
That is crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah.
I don't know.
think it's not a secret that I do. I love Gunnersville. I only live maybe an hour and 20 minutes from Gunnersville. So I've fished there quite a bit over the years. And to see that guy, I saw he had 28 pounds of smallmouth yesterday, and he's actually locking through and fishing below the Gunnersville Dam on the upper end of Wheeler. And I said, there's no way he can back that up. There's no way. And the dude had 23 today, dude. If he catches them good tomorrow, he's going to blow it out. That's crazy.
That is insane.
It is. It's crazy.
I didn't even know you'd even target smallmouth when you guys made largemouth in that pond.
I know. I mean, it's wild. It really is. I mean, I knew there were some big smallmouth that live up there on that extreme upper end of Wheeler. I mean, there's been some big bags weighed in up there, but I never expected anybody to be able to do that. I'll be honest, I never did.
Yeah.
So, how many boats is too many boats for an opens tournament?
That's a good question.
To me, that just seems crazy.
Yeah, 225 is a lot of boats. But when you go to a place like the Kissimmee Chain, so you have Toho, you have Cypress Lake, Hatchnahaw, Kissimmee, and a little lake called Tiger Lake. So you've got a lot of different options, I guess. And I guess the first thing I noticed about that open was the first day I spent the day. It was 3 days before the tournament. It was Monday. Tournament started on Thursday. I spent my first day of practice on Kissimmee, and I didn't see anybody. I was like, where the heck is everybody at? And I think only maybe out of the 225 boat field, only maybe 60 people locked through. So
Wow.
A lot of people stayed on Toho. And the reason is because Toho has been a big player the past few years. That's where a lot of tournaments have been won the past few years. So that definitely helped for sure. It helped me.
Did you have a good practice? I mean, were you confident after the practice too?
I was fairly confident. I was hopefully optimistic. I'll put it that way. There was a big cold front leading up. I mean, that Monday when I put in for the first day of practice, the water temperature was 53, 54 degrees down there on Kissimmee. That's cold for Florida. That's real cold. You're probably not going to get many bites when you're looking at 53, 54 degree water. And I didn't. I found one little area late that afternoon where I could get, a couple of bites. But, I just kind of took it for what it was. And when you get those this time of year in Florida, when you get those severe cold fronts followed by a very warm trend, that's what you need to set up a spawn. So that was one of the key things. I realized that and I planned accordingly.
Yeah, so I heard you say that you skipped really a couple of days of practice just because the conditions weren't going to be anything like they would be tournament day, right?
Right. Yeah, I actually did. I mean, obviously for the opens, we can practice as long as we want. There is no cutoff. There's a cutoff for information, but there's not a cutoff for when we can practice. But I was in no rush. I knew, we basically get 2.5 to 3 days of practice for the Elite Series, so I'm used to that. And I feel like, having prior knowledge of the fishery, I fished a couple opens there in the past. I felt like 2.5 days would be plenty for me. And I wanted it to kind of get on the backside of that cold front. If you show up and start fishing in Florida in the middle of a cold front, things are going to change. I promise you. I mean, you're doing yourself more harm than you are good out there.
We kind of jumped straight into this, but for people that are watching, tell everybody how you got started into the outdoors.
Oh, I live in southern Middle Tennessee, a little town called Fayetteville. I'm about 30 minutes north of Huntsville, Alabama, just right across the state line. And I grew up like a lot of young men in the South. You know, I grew up fishing creeks, farm ponds, just whatever. I grew up fishing with my dad, my granddad. You know, I was introduced to fishing. Some of my family hunted. I also love to hunt. Just the outdoor lifestyle. I'm here for all of it, man. I'm a deer hunter. I'm a turkey hunter. I'm a bass fisherman. I love the crappie fish. I like to catch catfish. I mean, it's a part of who I am. It really is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
Steve. Okay. I was just wondering, so how'd you get into professional bass fishing? How did that transition take place?
Yeah, so you know, as a kid, I obviously I watched Bill Dance, I watched Roland Martin, Jimmy Houston, all those guys. I mean, all the legends of the sport. And as you start to get older, you start to realize that you got to do something with your life, right? you got to make a living somehow.
Yeah.
So, you know, I told my dad at a pretty young age, I was like, I want to be a professional bass fisherman. That's what I want to do. Didn't know what that meant. I had no clue. But I have to give major props to my family. They have supported me from the very get-go. You know, my dad bought me my first bass boat. He helped get me started on the Elite Series, and you know, having that support has always been, you know, probably the number one reason why I'm here. You know, but I think just having that drive, man, because you know, when you're trying to get started being a professional anything, you can be a professional ballerina dancer, it doesn't matter. You're going to get knocked down. There's going to be times when you lose and you get your butt kicked. But
Sure.
you got to be able to come back from that. You know, the want to has got to be bigger than that.
Dude, I don't think people realize how tough it is to make it into the elites, and then and staying there too. How big of a struggle was it for you to get on the tour?
So I started fishing the Bassmaster Opens in 2012 with the goal of qualifying for the Elite Series. 2012. So there's 3 tournaments in the Bassmaster Opens. The top 5 get to move up to the Bassmaster Elite Series. For anybody who doesn't know, in 2012, I think I finished 40 something in points. I didn't have a great year, but not terrible. The next year, I said, well, I'm going to try it one more year, and then I'm going to figure out, you know, what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. Well, in 2013, I was lucky enough. I had 3 good tournaments. I finished 3rd, 15th, and 16th. And I actually finished first place in the points in the Southern Opens in 2013. So I got that first bid into the Elite Series in 2014. So, you know, it took me 2 years to qualify. I've definitely caught a lot of good breaks, been very blessed and very, very fortunate along the way. But like I said, dude, I mean, fishing is my life. I live, eat, breathe, and sleep this stuff. I mean, I really do.
I know.
And you've done pretty well. Looking back, you only missed the Classic 1 year, right?
Yep. Yeah, I missed the Lake Conroe Classic in Texas. That's the only one I've ever missed.
Yeah, that was. Well, the classic. Are you looking forward to next week? I mean, I don't want to jinx you or anything, but I'm just saying because in my fantasy picks last week, I told everybody get to Lester, do whatever. I don't care what you say. The way Harris, because I live right around the corner. The way Harris Chains, Toho and Harris fish a lot alike with all that grass. So I told everybody to get on. I think you might be one of the favorites next week. Is there any pressure to that? And what are your thoughts on the upcoming Classic?
No, I mean, I don't honestly feel any pressure. No, I mean, at this point, you know, I've been around the block. I've been to several classics. Now I'm not going to say that first morning when I get out there, I won't have a few butterflies. Absolutely. If you're fishing the Bassmaster Classic and you don't have butterflies, you probably need to go to the doctor. I'm just going to tell you. But I mean, it won't. No, when we get out there and we make that first cast, it's strictly business, man. It's another day of figuring it out. But no, I'm looking forward to Hartwell. I really am. This will be actually the third classic that I've fished at Lake Hartwell. So I've got some history about the lake, and Lake Hartwell is one of the coolest lakes in the country because, man, it can be won on any part of that lake. It seems like there's not one section of the lake that really dominates. You've got 2 or 3 different arms. You've got the Seneca arm, you've got the Tugaloo River arm, you've got 6 and 20 Creek, you've got the largemouth factor, the spotted bass factor, deep, shallow. There's a lot of different options, and you can catch them about any way you want to. So,
in a lot of Casey Ashley stump piles.
I don't know it quite as good as Casey does. I wish I did, but yeah, it'll be a great tournament, and I'm looking forward to it. And it's looking like we're going to have good weather for it, also.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one Casey won out there was really cold. Really cold.
It was very cold.
That was a bad year, man.
Yeah, it was bad. That was actually my first classic. It was 6 degrees that first
you remember
morning.
backing you guys in and pulling you out, and the boats would freeze to the
Yep.
And then we had like a 2-hour, like whatever it is. We had 2 hours before, it took 2 hours to get all the boats in, and it was like I was out there, and of all things, Patrick Sabile's ice suit, and it was like this much too short for me on my feet, on my legs, and I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy cold. It's not gonna. I've been watching the weather for the past couple of weeks, because you just want to be prepared when you get there. But it's looking like we're going to have good weather for this one, and this one's about 2 to 3 weeks later than that one was, I think. So this should be a really good tournament, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
So Brandon, you've done really well in Florida, especially this year. What's the secret? The reason I ask this is because I hear so many professional anglers talk about how tough it is to fish in Florida. Even people that really surprise me, that I would say are really, at the top of their game. I've heard say things like, "Man, Florida's the only place I don't like fishing. I don't like."
Everybody hates Florida.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing in the state of Florida, there's really 2 factors. Number one, when you get to Florida, it's all about area. All you need to find is one good area that fish are in. And now I'm talking about this. Keep in mind, the only time I ever get to fish Florida is this time of year, around the spawn. If I went there in the summer or the fall, I probably wouldn't even know where to start, to be honest. But this time of year, during the spawn time of year, you only need one good area that's got a good population of fish, and get in there, and I mean slow down, like just creep along, like make a few flips, pick it apart, pick your power poles up, move 10 or 15 feet, put it back down, pick it apart again. I mean, you're trying to fish. When I'm in Florida this time of year, I'm trying to find me 1 or 2 good areas, and I catch every single bass that lives in those 1 or 2 good areas. That's how I approach it in a nutshell.
What was the worm you were throwing? Someone asked that in the comments.
When I won the Open, I was throwing the 5 and the 6 inch Gambler Ace, mostly the 5 inch, but I did throw the 6 inch just a little bit.
Were you Texas rigging or wacky rigging?
Yeah, I was just Texas rigging it with a 3/16 ounce weight mustad hook, 17-pound line. Nothing real special. I was just kind of pitching around to beds that I could see.
Were you finding them on beds, or had they already spawned when you were here?
So that's kind of a long explanation. I'll tell you all about it. So the second day of practice, I ran into Lake Cypress, and to be honest, I've never really done much good out of Lake Cypress. But I was, Kissimmee the whole chain was a little bit different. It's different every year. I go into Lake Cypress, and I get up on the North Shore, and I start seeing a lot of empty beds. But mind you, the water temperature is still 57, maybe 58. This is the second day of practice. But I start seeing some fish cruising around those beds. I see a couple males sitting on beds, and then I see like a 9 or 10 pounder sitting on the bed in 58-degree water. And that right there told me that water had went up. This was in the afternoon on day 2 of practice. If I see a 9 or 10 pounder sitting right on a bed in 58-degree water, there's going to be some more coming on those beds, I can promise you. So that was kind of the key that told me, hey, I need to focus on those beds. Because one thing I learned in Florida a long time ago, especially when you're around scattered eelgrass and hydrilla, which is what I was fishing in Cypress, just because you don't see those fish sit right in the middle of those beds when you're going down through there does not mean that bed doesn't have a fish on it. They'll sit right off the edge a lot of times and kind of guard that bed. So I would just go along when that sun was bright, sunshiny. I would just go along, and when I saw a light spot, I would make a long pitch, and that's how I caught most of those fish. I wasn't actually sight fishing for them, but they were definitely spawning fish, no doubt.
Yeah.
So, bed fishing. How long? You see that 10-pounder sitting there on the bed, you know? How long do you stay there? How long do you work that before you decide got to move on?
That's every single fish is different. Everyone is different. I'll put it to you like this: if I can get that fish, if I'm in a tournament situation and I see a fish that I need in a bad kind of way, a 10-pounder is game changer no matter what. A 7, 8-pounder, that's a huge deal when you're fishing a tournament, right? So if I can get that fish to acknowledge my bait within the first 10 or 15 minutes of me messing with it, I'm probably going to spend some time on that fish. Now, if she just swims off the bed and then don't show back up for another 15 or 20 minutes and she's making huge circles and acting completely crazy, then I may go on. She may not be quite ready yet. Yeah. And you know, if she has a male in there with her, that's going to affect how long I'm going to stay there, because that'll make them more aggressive too when they're paired up. Every fish is a lot different. And with experience, sight fishing, you'll learn to read each fish, and you'll learn to read their reactions and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. We have some interesting sound things. I probably blocked this one person. Maybe it's me. I'm gonna wonder if it is me that has this sound. Why don't I
mute yourself for a second? We'll see if that.
Okay, hold on.
Nope. Wait. Nope. We're getting a lot of crackle here on the sound here, Miranda.
So I want to get back into the classic because it's the biggest fishing, the biggest fishing tournament in the world. When you, how much pressure? And I know you said there wasn't a lot of pressure, but you've been been at it, 6, 7 times now. How is it dealing with? I'm just going to say, like me as media. Is it a nightmare? To be honest, I've always wanted to know, and we're friends.
Right. No, it's definitely not a nightmare. I mean, you learn to take it in stride. You do.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not in a bad way at all.
No, I always ask a stupid question. You know that.
No. I mean, that's a part of it. You do your job. If you're going to be this day and time, and I think that a lot of people don't realize about being a professional angler, they think we just have these sponsors just because that's just part of the gig. But the truth of the matter is we have to have sponsors to be able to pay for what we do. Yeah. Because what we do is very, very expensive. We're no different than any other small business owner. At the end of the day, we're a small business and we're trying to make money at the end of the year. Dealing with the media, anytime we get an opportunity to do something like this podcast with you guys right now, or a magazine article or anything to promote our brands, promote our sponsors, promote ourselves. That's what we have to do, you know. So it's definitely not a nightmare, man. I can't tell you how many great people just like yourself that I've met through fishing. I mean, I try to treat, you know, all the people that I meet and all the media and stuff. It's just it's a part of the game, and it's a part of the gig. And I mean, before I was a fisherman, I drove a forklift in a factory every day. So if ever I think this sucks, then I think about I could be back driving that forklift every day. So it's all good, man. It's all good.
Hey, Brandon, would you mind maybe hanging up and calling back in just to see if we can't get a better connection?
Yeah, I don't mind at all. Just go through the process, the same process I did to get here. Just go through that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
See if that helps.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Dude, who is that person?
Are you talking about those freaky, disgusting?
Yeah, I mean, who would have that as a name?
I don't know, man. It's baffling, isn't it?
And let me just say thank you, everybody who noticed that the sunburn looks better. I really didn't think it looked that bad last week, and then I rewatched the video, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really, really looked horrible.
You did look pretty bad. All right, he's back on. Let's see if it works. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely your phone, but we'll soldier through here.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can go turn my Wi-Fi on and see if maybe that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That may, I mean, it may help and it may not. I don't know. I'm just running off Verizon service right now.
Hopefully it does, because you just disappeared.
We can hear you now. Perfect. You just can't see you. He's there giving us the finger. Brandon would never do that. I should say that. I'm joking. So you realize I mentioned this earlier. You might not think you're one of the favorites. You've done really well on Hartwell in the past, and when you start looking at the anglers that aren't with the elites anymore, your name keeps climbing up that thing. So I think you're gonna do really good. I'm just gonna tell everyone right now. He is on my list of my classic list for picks. I think it sets up perfect for you. Do you think they're going to be spawning? And what do you think the bait you're going to be, or what do you think you're going to be using the most? You using a spinner bait? What are you going to be doing?
So everybody, you know, every tournament fisherman has to go into each tournament with a little bit of a game plan.
Yeah.
And I noticed on Lake Hartwell, especially this time of year, I do not think they'll be spawning yet. I still think it's going to be strictly a pre-spawn tournament.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
My plan is, you know, the year that the especially the second year that Jordan Lee won, he was catching a good limit of spotted bass early, and then he was going and culling with largemouth later on in the day. That's a really good way to win on Lake Hartwell. If you can get you 12, 13, even 14 pounds of spotted bass, there are some big spots in there. If you can get you a good bag of spots, because you're going to see some good largemouth the way the weather's setting up. Even though I don't think they're going to be spawning, it's going to be warm enough that you're going to see that pre-spawn shallow dock bite. You're going to see that pre-spawn shallow wood bite, that kind of thing. But I don't know. The problem is with that largemouth deal, there's not as big a population of them. And it's hard to just target largemouth. It's hard to catch enough to have a 5-fish limit of them all 3 days. So kind of my plan is going in is find me a way that I can use my Lowrance active target, catch me a good limit of spotted bass, maybe the first couple 2 or 3 hours of the morning, and then find me a way to get up shallow and find me a decent largemouth each day. You know, and I mean that all sounds good on paper. That's subject to change.
Yeah.
But that's what I would like to do. And this is the first time I'll get to fish Lake Hartwell with forward-facing sonar. So like Lowrance active target. So, and that stuff is, it's deadly on spotted bass, man, because they can be, they love to set up on brush piles, points, that kind of thing during the pre-spawn. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting over there and playing around with that.
I know what my next question is going to be, but I'll let Mr. Bass go.
Okay, I wanted to know about you mentioned you got some signature series rods coming out.
I do.
Want to know a little bit about those?
Yeah, so Mustad has been a long time sponsor of mine. I've been working with those guys since I think my second year on the Elite Series. And everybody knows Mustad, the triple grips and everything. They make great hooks. They always have. And the opportunity actually came available about a year and a half ago for me to make they wanted to get into the rod market. They're trying to kind of broaden their portfolio a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked me if I would be willing to help them, because I have a history as a custom rod builder. I know a pretty good bit about fishing rods, so, the opportunity came available to do a signature series with them. So I sat down and we've got 14 different models. It's 8 bait casting models, 3 crankbait models, and 3 spinning models.
Wow.
And I mean, we've got the gauntlet covered. We really do. We've got everything from the most finesse thing you'd want to do to big swim baits and punching and all the above. But they're going to be really awesome. I mean, we've had to deal with the supply chain issues like everybody else has, but they're looking at hitting the market any day now. So I'm super excited about that.
That's awesome. Okay, you talked about the Lowrance active target. How has that changed the way that you fish? And do you see, we've talked to other anglers and they've said sometimes you see bass kind of feel that pressure or feel that sonar and move away. Are you seeing that? But first, tell us about it.
Yeah, so I've been running it for right at a year now. I got it for the first time about a year ago. And to be honest, I just now feel like I know when to use it and know when to not use it. Like, I'll be 100% honest. In Florida, when I was flipping those reeds and stuff last week at the Harris Chain, I didn't even turn it on. I completely disabled it because I didn't want it pinging and stuff.
Yeah.
And it is. You can watch a bass's behavior, dude. When you get within 30 feet of a bass and you hit that trolling motor and he hears all that sonar pinging and stuff, it'll spook him a lot of times. It's very eye-opening. And it's very eye-opening how many fish look at your bait every single day and don't actually bite it. I mean, it's a small percentage that actually look at your bait and actually do bite it as opposed to don't bite it. But, I mean, like I said, I'm still learning. I'm not saying I know everything about it, but it has definitely changed the way I fish. And, just things like say if I'm fishing a jerk bait, I can watch the way they're reacting to it and I can try to tweak my colors a little bit, or a crankbait. A lot of times, if I'm going down the bank parallel in a crankbait, I'm a Tennessee guy. That's what we do this time of year. If I see most of those fish sitting out there in 7 to 8 feet of water, I know I need to be throwing a plug that gets down at least that deep, maybe even a little bit deeper. So you have to learn to interpret the information that it's giving you. And I think there's a learning curve on that, most definitely.
Bob had a question for you. I don't know if do you see the comments?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Can you see them? Brandon? We'll put it on the screen here for you.
Let's see here.
What are a few favorite largemouth and smallmouth bodies of water you like to fish?
What's your favorites?
So for a long time, people would ask me, what's my favorite body of water in the country? And I'd say, no, I try not to pick favorites. But when I went to Lake Champlain, I knew that was what bass fishing is supposed to be. Lake Champlain in upstate New York is my favorite bass fishery in the country, no doubt, that I've ever been to. It's really good for largemouth and smallmouth, so definitely check that one out. Favorite largemouth. I'm trying to think. A lot of those New York lakes, man. Cayuga is a really good one. For smallmouth, the St. Lawrence River is really good. Gosh, there's that smallmouth. Obviously, you're going to think about northern fisheries. Now, I mean, if you're a southern guy, Dale Hollow is really good. Dale Hollow is
Yes, it
probably
is.
Dale Hollow is probably one of the best kept secrets of the South, to be honest. And I know that's where the world record smallmouth came from and all that, but I go there every now and then. I'll take my dad over there and we go fun fishing, and I don't see anybody. It's a really, really good lake.
That
So
one is
there's lots of good opportunities.
that one, the Del Hollow. That people do not know. People are sleeping on that one.
They are, most definitely.
That the smallmouth fishery there is insane.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good.
Yeah.
Largemouth.
I tell you, go ahead.
Largemouth as well on Dale Hollow, because they actually have a slot limit. Yeah, they have a slot limit on the smallmouth there. You can only keep one over 21 inches, I think, or something like that. So that basically takes the smallmouth out of the equation when it comes to tournaments. And you'll see 20 to 25-pound bags of largemouth there pretty regularly. It's a really, really good lake. Probably the best in Tennessee, honestly. I don't know. Chickamauga may be the best in Tennessee, but Dale Hollow is really good.
Chick is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the new lake that's going to be completely overrun is O.H. Ivy. Somebody mentioned it on here, but that thing is just getting hammered ever since these YouTubers put out all these double-digit bass. Everybody and their brothers going down there now, and they're still catching them. It's just crazy.
That's where the sonar really helps. The active target and the forward-facing sonar. That's where you go over to Texas and you can see everything that they're doing, how they react to the umbrella rigs and all that stuff. And when you start seeing all that, it helps. It helps drastically. I have a buddy that barely fishes. He went out there and caught a 13, and I thought, what the hell is going on here? Didn't even work for it.
That is a shame, man. as many years as I've worked for it, I know we've got Brandon's. I see his signal. It's down to like 1 bar according to what I'm seeing here. So I don't know what's happened there.
We should tell everybody. You should go on Facebook. You should go on, Instagram, all that stuff, and like Brandon. Also check out his sponsors: Toyota, Hook, Phoenix Boats, TH Marine, Mustat, Mossy Oak, Vicious Fishing, Lake Hop, and Midway USA. Because he's given us his time. We should show him some love and make sure his sponsors know that he's great. Because Brandon's one of these guys. I texted him and he was like, "Yeah, of course, Steve, I'm in." Where other people are like, give me a hard time and are asking me what questions we're going to ask.
Yeah, what questions?
Only you know that answer.
I want to know all the answers to the test beforehand. Well, Brandon's trying to get back on here, but he still doesn't have there's still no picture. I'll add him on and see if we can get him connected here. Can you hear us, Brandon?
Maybe not.
Well, there he is, that black square.
Yeah, you should go out and check out his sponsors and his Facebook page and all that other stuff.
Yeah, he's in fact, he's got a YouTube channel now, and he's trying to do more and more content on there. I went and watched today his recap of his win on the Kissimmee Chain. That was really interesting to watch. You guys definitely should go check that out. I think he gives you some good tips.
And we mentioned it when we first started. The opens are arguably the hardest, some of the hardest professional fishing that there is.
Absolutely, there's no doubt about it.
Absolute studs in the opens. Some guys trying to requalify, some guys just wanting to do their best and make some extra money or whatever. And
not only that, there is a group of people that only fish that lake, and
Yeah.
and they'll join these opens. You're fishing against the very best local sticks there are on every one.
Especially.
Yeah, every one of these open lakes, it's that way. When you go fishing open, there's I mean, like take Lake of the Ozarks, about down here where I live. There's a handful of guys, 20 or so, that literally know that lake inside and out. Everybody knows them, and they fish every tournament, and they're always in the money.
Yeah.
And when an open comes through there, they'll fish it. And that is tough competition.
Ray Pod wants to know who the bad guys on the tournament are. I can tell you, knowing Brandon for 7 years, when he first came on, I did an interview with him like 6 or 7 years ago on the radio show. He's such a gentleman. He isn't going to tell us who the bad guys are. That's
that's not going to happen.
He isn't going to trash anybody. I think one year, one of the questions I went through and asked every angler at the Classic, I said, if you could get rid of one person on the tour, who would it be? And a majority of the guys, were like, look, I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. And those were the guys that had the respect and the honor to them. And then there were the other guys that were like, I'd get rid of Ike and Ellie. And then you're like, okay, that was a little too fast. You should think about it a little bit before you. But that's just how it is.
All right, he's off again. He may not be able to join us. I don't know if you want to text him and.
Oh, I'll text him
and just let him know, hey, it's cool if you got signal problems, no big deal. But fishing the Southeast Athens about the BB kicker, the Big Bite Baits BB kicker, man, that is a great little swim bait. I've caught some really big fish on that thing, for sure. I'm sure you know your fair share of the bad guys on tour. I know a few that are what I would call undesirable. Let's put it that way.
So we might as well just say we have Ken Duke next week.
Yeah, heck
We're talking about the Classic. To be honest, that is the one question we should ask Ken. I know the answer to this, but I'll be keeping it real. Ken wrote an article about an angler, I don't even know how many years ago, maybe 15, 18 years ago. Man, this angler's wife went off on Ken, and every time they see each other, they don't even acknowledge each other. They can't still.
Wow.
I can't say who that person is because I know that would get him in more trouble, but
yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, I love Ken. It's going to be great having him back. So Brandon's trying to connect again, but it's no dice. He's he's in this he's out in the ether. He's out in the Wi-Fi-osphere, I guess. And
yeah, he's saying his signal is not working. He says, I have a good signal, but it's not working.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed. We got the most of the meat and potatoes out of him anyway. We got to talk to him about his Classic strategy. We got to talk to him about his Kissimmee win. He's a guy you guys should definitely be following, though. He's got a great attitude. He's got an incredible work ethic, and as you can see, one thing he didn't mention is that the previous years that he's fished those tournaments down south, he's always been very competitive, very competitive.
And really, if you talk to 100 anglers, 100 professional anglers, probably 96 of them would go, I don't want anything to do with Florida. I don't want Okeechobee. I don't want Harris. I don't want Palatka. I don't want anything to do with it. And he gets down here and he just absolutely, if there's grass, he absolutely kills it. And that's, I mean, but he's just one of those guys that is a good person and fishes unbelievable and just has, like you heard, he has a serious passion for the outdoors, and it shows in everything that he does.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And I mean, look how patient he is, still trying to get on. I mean, he's trying to like he said, he doesn't get anything for doing this with us, but he cares about his sponsors and he cares about the audience. And I mean, he's just a good dude.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
the
awesome.
first year I met him, he was at the Classic, and when one of the things when you go to the Classic as a media person, they have a day specifically for media, and they give us like a lunch, and then they tell us what's going to go on, and then all the anglers have their boats lined up either inside or outside or wherever we're at, and then what they do is we get 3 minutes to go talk to people. You can run from one person to another, and you're supposed to request the time so that they know who's coming to them and how many people and that kind of stuff. And I remember meeting Brandon the first year at the Classic, and just thinking, wow, really good head on his shoulders, good guy, and just it was pleasant to meet somebody, especially because when you're not used to having, like, in most events, they might get 10 or 15 media people at an event. At the Classic, they'll have 400 or 500.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So the media gets in there, and there's some guys that don't get to see any media because they just they're not at the Classic. Those guys that won the Opens, no offense, they're not gonna have a lot of people knocking on their door when Kevin Van Dam's there and all these other guys.
Exactly.
And it's people like Brandon who, take the time to meet everybody, say hello, autograph things for all the people. It's just, he's just a really good dude.
For sure.
So,
well, I wish him all the luck in the world at the Classic. It'll be fun to watch, and we got a lot of folks on here that are doing the fantasy fishing this year, and that makes it funner to watch.
Yeah. I mean, the fantasy fishing, it's so much luck. I mean, you're hoping your guys do well, but at the same time, you're kind of like dartboard. You're just hoping that guy I want to do well.
Yeah.
There'll be places like at the for the Classic, like Brandon Cobb and some of those guys, they will be favorites for sure because that's their home lake. And there used to be a time where whoever's home lake they were on never won, and then it was that chain was broke with Casey Ashley and a bunch of those guys, and my boy Randy Howell and Edwin Evers and those guys. So it's fun.
After Hank won Classic number 2, you asked him about Classic number 3, and he sounded pretty darn confident.
Well, and no offense to Hank, because I love Hank, but you gotta think the odds of winning 3 in a row are just astronomical. But then you think, of all things, you heard this with Ken Duke. If you make the Classic, that's the easiest tournament to win in the elites.
Yeah, that's right. It's definitely the smallest field, especially of elite anglers.
Yeah, because you have 40 elite anglers and probably 12 open winners. And no offense to the open guys, those guys don't have a chance against the elite guys. That's like me going. I mean, I'm going to get stomped. It's just how it is.
Going to get stomped.
I like going fishing with those guys, and then they're like with Brandon Card. Every time I see him, he's like, "Dude, you can do this for a living." I'm like, "Why would I want to? I want to enjoy fishing." I mean, you and I talked about this. I have a hard enough time just bringing a camera with me nowadays. I don't want to have that. I think when you put money in place of fishing, then that is where things start to get a little bit sketchy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask him, does color matter?
I know.
He
kind of did say it did.
Yeah, he showed in the video that he was using the Golden Shiner jackhammer. That was his chatterbait that he was using to win the Kissimmee Chain. Golden Shiner.
I don't even know what that color looks like.
Well, it's kind of got like a golden head and a gold blade, and the bottom of it's got a little white, so it's kind of like golden white in the skirt.
Hank says
And
if Hank wins again this year, the Dolphins can win the Super Bowl. No, that's a question that'll never happen.
well, I intentionally did not pick Hank last year because I thought 2 in a row. I know Jordan Lee's won 2 in a row,
Yeah.
but it seems impossible. I didn't select him, and sure enough, he won again. And when we asked him, he was like, "Why not 3? Heck yeah!" And you're right. If you're a gambling man, it's probably better not put money on Hank Cherry. But hey, everybody's got a shake. Everybody's got a shot.
Hank is as good a shot as anyone. I mean,
yeah.
Hold on. Just out of curiosity, let me just look.
Of course.
At my 3 pages back in front of classic notes.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. Hank.
Well, the one thing Hank does not have this year that he had last year and the year before is he had exclusive use of the Stunna.
Yeah, that's true.
It's on the market now, so everybody can fish with it. I mean, if that was an edge or not, he says it was.
So he came in 10th in 2019.
Okay.
2019 and 33rd in 2018.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I wouldn't say Hank is a favorite, but
no, I wouldn't either.
10th place in 19. That was the first year all the anglers left for Major League Fishing. So
yeah.
I mean, there's some guys out there that just. I mean, I think I saw someone today texting me saying, "Did you know John Cox wasn't a favorite?" And I thought, who told you John Cox wasn't a favorite at the Classic?
yeah.
And they were like, "Well, he hasn't done very well there." And I'm like, so then I got my notes out and I said, just so we can be clear, he came in 20th in 2018. He came in 1st in 2016. He came in 5th in 2014. So I don't know where you've gotten your stats.
You don't have a chance.
Well,
you don't have a chance. There's no way. A 1st and a 5th and a 19th. There's no way.
And those were FLW ones where they had even more people than what the.
Oh yeah. The old FLW was the same problem as these opens. They had a bunch more people to compete against than the elites.
Yeah, he just needs to get his head straight. That's
yeah. He's done well so far this year. His first 2 tournaments were great. He just, didn't bring it home.
In all honesty, if you would have told me that he wasn't going to win here at the Harris Chain, I would have slapped you.
Yeah. I thought after day 2, when he came in with that 30-pound limit, I was like, okay, he's got this thing. He is going to roll.
Well, that was at the St. John's. I'm talking.
Oh, that was at the St. John's. Yeah.
Because really, the Harris Chain. He guided on the Harris Chain for 5 years before he joined. He went professional.
Yeah.
He and I sat down and talked, and I said to him, there's no exaggeration. I said, I got a spot. Nobody in their mind knows where it is. And he said, well, where is it? And I said, well, here's the chain it's on. Here's the lake it's on. And he goes, are you talking about the one that's 150 feet offshore? And if you line up your boat north to south, that you line up with this one pole and this tree? And I just sat there going, and I go, no way. You heard me talk about it before. And he's like, there's 2 of us that know that spot, you and I. And then he goes, and Keith Carson. I'm like, okay.
Well, what's funny is, sometimes knowing too much can hurt you.
Yeah.
You fish the past, you fish what was good before, and sometimes it's not as good as you might think. But I would much rather fish a lake that I actually know really well than not one at all.
Yeah. And I think that lake didn't work out the way I think he thought it was going to, because I know he didn't lock over to Apopka to check it out. And then to find out that there were 20 or 25 anglers that were going to Apopka was like mind-blowing to me. That was the biggest shock of all. First off, I hated that they told everybody about Apopka. That's the first thing I hated.
Yeah.
But then you start hearing, because you can only put like 2 or 3 boats in that lock. It's that small.
Mm.
And then you start hearing these guys are wasting 2 hours, 15, 20 minutes to get over to Apopka
Yeah.
to then have to
That's
lock
risky.
out. Yeah. I was just literally, I was dumbfounded. I was like, no way. Have you seen what's going on in Major League Fishing with the Bass Pro Tour? Do you see Wheeler is just absolutely crushing it? Somebody
can't.
pissed him off, and now he's back to himself.
I cannot believe that. I mean,
we need to have Jacob on again right away.
It blows my mind. I mean, KVD fished against him. Was it yesterday? And he posted a picture of like the leaderboard, the top, and Wheeler was first, KVD was second, and Wheeler beat him by like 30 pounds.
I know.
It wasn't even close.
Now they did have some bad weather. Alton Jones Jr. killed it today. The weather changed, so we'll see how that works out for them. Over the next 2 days. But honestly, tomorrow's the final day. I just don't think Wheeler can do anything wrong right now.
It's amazing. It's
absolutely
amazing. We're witnessing just something unreal right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to look back at what he's done over the last couple of years and just go, can anyone ever top this?
I know it. It's like I'm gonna have to take my KVD off my wheel here and stick a picture of Wheeler on it, because he's just dominating like crazy.
Yeah, he seems to make every right decision. Like there's other guys like go at the Classic. Jason Christie was ahead for 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 days, and then on the 4th day, Edwin won. Edwin had come back and winning, but at one point, Christie started making mental mistakes, and all these anglers at some point do it, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem like Jacob ever does it. Everything he does is like it's like he picks the right bait,
every time.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Brandon Lester was saying in his recap of his Kissimmee win, is that he said, I'm most proud of the fact that during this tournament, I really made good decisions. And he said, the reality is that when you get at the professional level, we're all pretty darn good. We all know how to cast a bait and put it in the right spot. We know how to make the bait do what it's supposed to do. That's all very, very equal. But tournament day, it's about making the right decisions. And if you can do that, that's the trick. And he then he kind of outlined a few of those decisions that he made that really paid off for him.
Ray Pot asked, who's better, Cherry or Wheeler? Cherry's won 2 classics, but I would take Wheeler. I think Wheeler's a better angler.
I agree. Wheeler's
nobody
can touch Wheeler right now. Nobody. There isn't even a close second.
Yeah. I have some of the new Berkeley baits. I just can't show them until I think 3 or 4 more weeks.
Okay. It would be fun to see Wheeler fish on the elites also.
Oh my God, wouldn't it be great?
Oh, I would love to see that. Just let him fish both circuits. And golly, this guy's amazing.
We've said this. It would be so great to let the top guys over here and the top guys over there come together and do it. And really, tomorrow is the first tournament of, and probably nobody knows this. And does anyone know that MPFL is going on tomorrow?
I didn't know.
I didn't know either. Patrick Walters is on that tournament, and Patrick Walters is a great angler. He's going to go from there over MPFL and have to run overnight to the Classic.
Interesting.
But it'll be really cool to see how he ties up with against those other anglers. Just like, I didn't know this either, but did you know Turkola's fishing the Major League MLF Toyota circuit?
No, I didn't know that.
And he isn't doing any better, by the way. So,
yeah, that doesn't surprise me, by the way. That does not
doing any better. Not after one tournament.
Well, he's got plenty of money. He can just burn on those tournaments, and it's no big deal.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if he does the same deal. You know, if day one goes bad, he just goes home on day two.
Well, the thing about now he's in. You know, last year I think they had like I could be very wrong. Like 9. Let's just say they had 100 anglers for NPFL. Now he's in the Toyota MLF things where there's 200 or 300 anglers.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about at the beginning. The Major League Toyota Series at Guntersville had 328 anglers.
Jim just said Walters is skipping NPFL on Cumberland this weekend, and that makes sense because the Classic is much more important.
Much more important.
Yeah, now he's got to, you know, those Toyota Series, some of those anglers, I think Bobby and a couple of those guys, the Bass Pro guys, fish those Toyota Series.
Yeah.
So now you're dealing with a whole different breed of anglers.
You know what's funny is I've fished these opens for quite a few years now on the co-angler side, and this year is the first year I can remember in a really, really long time where it seems like everything sold out really fast.
Yeah.
A lot of times these tournaments, you know, you didn't have that problem, but everything is selling out. And then I'm like, what's Major League Fishing strategy on the Toyota Series? I guess they're just going to let as many people as want to sign up. They're going to let in the tournament. And I mean, it makes for a bigger pot, but what kind of a chance do you have fishing in a 325 boat tournament? I mean,
the Harris Chain is huge. So if you were to put 300 boats on Harris Chain, you'd be knocking boots with some of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the Harris Chain's huge.
Yeah, I know. There's
pockets, you know.
Same way, man. A lot of those fisheries I've fished, like take the Arkansas River or the Red River, which we fished almost every year on the opens. You'd be bumping all over each other. I mean, where would you put all those boats?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of 300. 300 boats is a lot of 335 boats or whatever it is. That's a lot of boats, man.
That is way too many. Way too many. In fact, I got a buddy that's fishing Guntersville as a co-angler. After the first day, you figure there's 328 boats. I think they said the first 225 guys caught at least one fish, and then the next 100 did not catch a single fish. Not a single fish. That's amazing to me.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't listen to this podcast very much, but someone asked me to listen to it, and it was Luke's podcast. I just don't, not that I don't think that he doesn't do a great job. I want to make that very clear to everybody before I get the hate mail from Luke.
Low budget live.
Yeah. But he went on a little tirade about a co-angler in one of the recent, and it's the last one I listened to.
Oh, really?
And you know, he was really tough on the co-angler. He didn't say the guy's name, so I give him credit for that because I would have called the guy out. But you know, you go to a fishery that you don't know well, and you get a couple days of fishing. Being a pro angler or even a co-angler, the pro angler, you're really hoping for luck of the draw that the angler that you draw knows where he's going and what he's doing.
That's for sure.
Because if you don't, and I'm not saying Luke didn't know the Harris Chain, I'm not saying that at all. But you know, it's tough. You kind of want that. You want one of those local guys or a really good pro to be your person, or because if you don't, then you're kind of SOL'd. I mean,
yeah, it's absolutely true.
You're throwing money out the door.
I've had so many of those where your boater had. I mean, when you get in the boat and the boater says, "This is the first time I've ever been here. You got any idea where we ought to go today?" You're like, "Holy crap! Don't tell me that." And you know what a lot of guys say. I've heard a lot of guys say this is, yeah, but you know, you co-anglers, you don't have nearly as much invested in these tournaments as the pro. You know, the guys on the pro side, the boat side. Well, that's true. The pro has a much bigger entry fee, and he's got gas, and all that. But these co-anglers, a lot of these co-anglers do not have much money at all, and a $550 entry fee is a huge sacrifice for those guys, plus the travel, plus the hotels and the meals. And these guys, they don't have sponsors that are paying for any of it. You know, they're paying every dollar out of their pocket, and almost well, I don't know if it's almost all the pros, but a lot of these pros, they have some financial help. Now, it may not be enough to cover everything, but you know, I don't totally buy into the argument that these pros have just so much more invested. If you were to kind of compare, you know, what these co-anglers make and this kind of stuff, percentage wise, they might be actually investing more money in the tournament.
And like we said, you're hoping for a good draw. In Luke's case, you know, he had an angler that got on the boat that I think the co-angler that was on his boat that you know, knew too much. You know, you know, it's and I've been on boats with anglers, with pros, and I've said, you know, I think you ought to go fish over there, and then they're like, you know, who the hell are you, Steve? And I'm like, okay, I've done well. Or, I mean, I've been with the ICAST Cup. You know, they put a media person with a pro angler, and I got on the boat with the pro angler, and he's like, I've never fished the Toho, and I go, okay, can we go to this spot over here? And he's like, well, somebody else told me to go over here. I'm like, well, how is that guy done? Well, he caught fish there yesterday. But was that his first day on the out there? Yeah. Well, go to the spot, I told you.
Yeah.
And then they don't, and then I'm like, okay, you know, let's just do it. When you're a co-angler, you know, you're in the ass end of the boat. I mean,
yeah.
I've always thought, am I allowed to cast in front, even though the pro is sitting up front and he's more important than I am?
Yeah, technically you're not allowed to do that. There's an imaginary line basically at where the steering wheel is, and you're not supposed to cast in front of that. But a lot of these pros will let you do that if you ask them.
Well, then the problem then is they kind of cock block you, and then
of course they do. Of course they do. They don't want you catching the fish. I mean, you know. So yeah, I mean they're masters at that. The good ones are anyway. They can. In fact, I've always said, look, the worst thing as a co-angler you want is to get assigned to a real pro, a guy that does this for a living, because he is gonna stick it to you all day long. What you want is a really good stick that's kind of a hobby fisherman that is a nice guy and says, I don't care where you cast, go ahead and cast anywhere you want. You know, it's no big deal. And those are the ones you want. But man, I've had guys like I fished with Jeff Crete on one tournament. That dude pummeled me, man. He didn't give me a bite all freaking day long. And I couldn't blame him. I mean, he was trying to win. You know, he's trying to win.
I outfished the pro angler. I absolutely smoked his ass. But I got on the boat and I had one bait, and I said to him, "I'm throwing this bait all day." And he's like, "Yeah, sure. Good luck with it." A skinny dipper, I should mention that. And I said to him, "I'm going to smoke you. You have no idea how bad I'm going to smoke you." He's like, that bait won't catch fish here. I'm like, tell me right now, I'm going to smoke you on Toho with this bait. And I did. He caught 5 fish. My 3 fish weighed more than his 5 fish.
Yeah. Now I've had several pros I fished with that were great and gave you water, and you know, but I've had several that are just like, yeah, and if you get in some of these like springtime tournaments, especially if you're bed fishing, it's over, man. Yeah.
Fishing in the Southeast said, would Bernie Schultz do that to you, Steve? I'll be honest. I get on the boat with Bernie Schultz. I'm fishing up front, standing right next to him. In that back end of the boat. I'm sitting right up front. He might not like it, but that's tough.
That's funny.
He or Daniel, anytime, that's his son. Every time, yeah, I'm not taking the back of the boat with both those guys. I know them too well.
Yep.
Okay, so we have next week. We have our boy Cousin Ken.
Cousin Ken next week. That should be fun. It's going to be our classic show.
Yes.
And so get ready for your classic questions that you want to lay on Ken next week. That's going to be really fun.
That'll be fun. The week after, we're going to be a little bit early. We'll keep the little bit of secret here, but you'll want to be remembering when this goes live.
That's right. So 2 weeks from now, it'll be the same day, but we are going to have a timing change. The show will be a little earlier for a super special secret guest.
Super special secret daddy.
That's right. Heck yeah.
And it'll be fun. And we'll have him for 2 hours.
2 whole hours. Wow. Maybe we better make sure we do some sort of a sound check before he comes on.
Yeah. Actually, you want to? We'll do a. We'll do like a little tap. Well, I'm pretty sure. I don't think he'll have any issues. I think he'll be in like a studio or something. So
okay,
it should be all right.
Sweet.
And so what? I got my Major League Fishing. Where did it go? Oh yeah, here it is.
Got your MLF box. Oh yeah.
And this is how it came, by the way.
Oh, torn open, but everything was there.
I think so.
Interesting. The
here's the bait I was telling you about. I've never seen this. The Hyper Jerk.
Oh yeah. I've got several of those.
You have one of every color, you mean?
Yeah, I've got one of every color. They put those in the Super 6 sacks. Yeah. Yeah. If you need a color, just let me know. That and a Quake 70 I'll throw in for you. No charge.
I love that video that day. I love that video. I was like, I couldn't keep to myself. I was like, oh, I have a joke for this. I have a joke for that. I'm like, no, that's gonna make everything go bad.
I wasn't even planning on going there, man. I just lost control. It was just like, holy crap, and not another one of these. Not another one of that. And it's I don't know. I'm optimistic. I haven't canceled them yet. Speaking of canceling, every month I've gotten on and said, well, I got another lucky tackle box. I thought I canceled, or I know I canceled. Well, I got into it with them on the phone today.
Really?
Yeah. And it turns out I was in the wrong. So I got to backpedal here because this is what happened. I was subscribed to their bass box and their panfish box. And when I sent them the cancellation email, I only canceled the panfish. I thought I canceled them both.
Oh.
And so the whole time I keep thinking, well, when's this thing going to end? Because the one thing they tell you is, well, if you've already paid 6 months, we give no refunds. You got to take you paid for 6 and you're going to get 6. And then when it's over, you're done. So what I thought happened was I was still working that subscription off. And then I was like, well, heck, it's got to have ended by now. So then I saw my credit card yesterday. I got charged for 3 more months.
Oh.
And I was like, what the? So that's when I went off on them today. And then I realized, oh, I'm wrong here. So they
sent 3 more months, or did they cancel?
I'm getting it 3 more months because I already paid and they won't give me any refund. But I have a cancellation email confirmation in my box that says it is canceled now. So you guys that love the lucky box, you're going to get to see it for 3 more months.
I think I'm going to cancel Bass Baits Monthly.
Are you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I like that it gives me good content. You can talk about things and stuff. But like if I go to that liquidator's website down here in Florida, every bait's in there. I
Yeah,
get,
yeah.
and I could go on that liquidator website, and I could probably order one of every one, all of the same baits, and probably get charged 10 or 11, $12. So,
Yeah, well, there's a new box out that I was telling you about that one of the guys told me about. It's called Bass Finder Lure Company, the Bass Finder box. Seems
okay.
like a nice guy. His name is Owen. I haven't responded back to him, but I went and looked at his video, an unboxing video of his box, and it looked like a Lucky Tackle box to me. Everything in it was literally another lure I've seen and gotten in other boxes. You know, a vicious crankbait, a
Mhm.
Bama baits jerk bait. Just all the standard, typical lures that you see cycling through the monthly boxes over and over again. These same companies, same, and they're kind of what I'd call second tier companies. You know, they're not the Strike Kings, they're not the Z-Mans, they're the, you know. And so I just kind of commented, this box looks like junk. I would not subscribe to this thing. This is the same stuff I've seen in my. So he actually sent me a message and said, hey, I'd like to talk to you about this because I see your negative feedback. And he said he appreciates the negative feedback, but he would like my opinion. He'd like to talk to me more about my opinion on the box. And I will send that back to him. He's saying that this thing has 10 baits in it and it's a $70 value and you get it for only $35 a month or whatever the price is. I don't know what the price is. But, my argument is the same as yours, which is I don't care if there's $70 worth of baits and there's 10 of them in it. If it's the same old crap that
Yeah.
I've gotten from 10 other boxes in the last 2 years.
I mean, they're buying everything. I might as well just say it. They're buying everything from Moss Liquidators. It's what it is.
Yeah, they go to the liquidators
And
and
and that's what most of the stuff is. And like David said, I actually think for the money for Bass Baits Monthly, I think I could go to Brooker's, which is right around the corner from me. Not really right around the corner, but 25
yeah,
minutes from me.
yeah,
I could go in there. The store is wonderful. I could go to him and say, "What? I want to spend $40. I want all new baits. I don't mind paying retail." I'm sure he would get me $40, and he would give me like 20% off, and all of it would be absolutely brand new stuff. And I'd be able to try new stuff instead of stuff I've already tried or know about or whatever it is. And that would make my life so much more rewarding at this point in time than getting the same baits over and over and over. So,
gotcha.
no offense to Bass Baits Monthly, I just think it's time.
I hear you. So
I
Gramp says this Owen guy is actually a kid that has this Bass Finder.
Okay.
Says he's 16 years old. Well, congratulations to him for putting a monthly subscription box together at age 16.
Someone
That's
actually emailed me about Bass Finder Box 2, a subscriber, and said, check it out, blah blah blah. And I did look at it too, and was like, it isn't for me.
yeah, it's not for me either.
Mm.
But anyway, interesting. I would say if you're just getting into the subscription box market, you're probably a little late anyway.
Yeah, there's
Are
only,
you gonna-
there's only one I will always keep, and that's FTC. That's
right? And I haven't seen one of those in a long time now. I don't know what's going on with mine. I gotta reach out to Vic and see what's going on there.
Yeah. Having Ton Brubaker on Fishing with Gramps on
Oh,
Friday.
cool. That
Awesome.
should be fun.
I'll watch that for sure.
Yeah, that should be a good box. Scott Sinclair, 6 Cents is the best sub box. He hasn't watched my Super Six videos, has he?
Yeah.
It's not bad. I will say that it's not bad. Especially if you only get one, it's great. Your first sack, you're gonna be like, "Holy crap, this sucker's loaded. This is awesome." Try it for 2 years though.
Yeah, you'll have every bait 16 times.
Yeah, yeah.
Did I saw you had a whole bunch of stuff for Thunderhawk. I'm sure he's very happy about that.
Yeah, yeah, I got a bunch of Thunderhawk stuff, and I gave away a bunch of Thunderhawk stuff Saturday night, and he's going to send me some grunt jigs. I got a tournament out at Lake of the Ozarks. I'm going to try to fish some of the Thunderhawk lures in the tournament and see how I do.
I caught a bunch of fish recently on that new grunt.
It looks like a great jig.
A bunch of fish. It was almost a little crazy because I'm not a good jig fisherman, and it might have changed me. It might have changed me. That in suspending twitch bait. Oh, I cannot. I didn't realize how much I love suspending twitch baits until the last couple weeks.
Awesome, man.
So
that's fun.
Trying to do it. I have to tell you a story though, a funny story, because I was just seeing my camera behind me.
Yeah.
So I did my top 3 baits of March yesterday. I got all my notes out and I got them all taped all over so you don't realize that I'm somewhat reading. Actually, they're just highlights of things I want to say. And I got them all over. And I get everything dark in this room and turn the lights down and get everything ready. And I start talking and all I do is flub every single word for the first 5 minutes.
Oh, really?
I can't say anything. I can't pronounce anything. Every time I say I'll use this or use that, I'm like, it was like the movie Dear Evan Almighty, where he does the thing and Steve Carell goes in that movie. That's how I felt. That's
man.
So it took me unbelievably long to get the whole thing done. So it probably took me 15 or 17 minutes. And all I'm thinking of is how much editing I'm going to have to edit all this stuff out. So I hit the button and I come over here and I start doing something else. And then I put the SD card in. I didn't hit the record button.
Ah, that is so frustrating. Jeez.
You gotta be kidding me.
Man.
And then today I said, I'll do it today. And then I'm like, I'm not doing it. It's gonna have to wait. I don't have time for it.
Crazy. Hey, one thing that starts tomorrow, I was thinking, this reminds me because I was thinking of videos I did this last week. I did this video of my surprise lure of 2021, which was the Mike Bucca Baby Bullgill.
Yes.
And starting tomorrow, they've got some brand new colors.
Oh.
This is one of the new colors right here. I don't know what they call it. But this week only, if you're a Carl's Club member, you can go buy the new colors starting tomorrow for a week. Then they're going to open it up to everybody. So if you're really wanting to try, I don't know what the other colors are, but I've heard there's supposed to be some shad patterns and some cool stuff. If you want to get a good deal on that, if you're a Carl's Club member, tomorrow for a whole week, you'll have access. It's the Carl's birthday celebration week for members only if you're in the Carl's Club.
One of the greatest lures of all time.
It's fantastic. It's freaking amazing. So
it's so perfect.
I know it. It really do. So I'm first thing tomorrow morning, I'm going to hit the website and get me some of the new colors.
I was going to go fish Lake EA this afternoon, and I was like, I was only bringing one thing, and it was that bait. That was all I was going to bring. I was just like,
it's a great lure, and it's cheap. It's $15, and if you get it on Carl's, it's like $10.49 or something.
I don't even think people realize how great that bait is. I know people look at it and go, well, you know, this or that. The time, if you know anything about Mike Bucca, you know, he doesn't hear. So all of his senses have been focused from hearing onto baits.
He's a bait artist.
He's a superhero of baits.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I bet a lot of people didn't know that he can't hear.
Yeah, he is. That bait is ridiculous good. It's so good. I 2 years ago, that was my best bait of 2020.
I believe it. I believe it. If you just threw that, if you just threw that bait solid for a year, I can't imagine how many fish you'd catch on it.
Small fish hit it, big fish crush it, and even when you get like a ton of baits, it always tracks true.
Yeah, it does.
It never goes sideways. It always is vertical.
And it's pretty durable. Like I got this one here. I've caught probably 100 fish on this specific one. And look how good a shape it is. I mean, it's a little bit of stuff here, a little bit here, but for the most part, this sucker's still in great shape.
Hellabass didn't like that it was small. For I can understand that. But for me it works all the time for me.
Here's the crappie color. That's a really good one.
I only use the bluegill-ish color. I don't even know what it's called.
Well, they got several bluegill colors. They got like natural gill and wild gill, and
I think it's wild gill's the one I use.
Let's see here. This one here is called ruby gill.
Hellabass, that's what she said. That's the color I use right there.
Ruby gill. For red is probably a good idea. Speaking of red, did you see the picture of all my red baits I posted? Here it is. Here I was getting all my red baits ready for springtime fishing.
I know. I saw this.
Oh, geez, they're beautiful just to look at, man. It's like, man, those are pretty baits. Anyway, I digress.
A lot of baits. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not all of them. That's just the ones I'm going to use. But
oh my gosh,
it's fun to look at lures.
Well, I would like to take a poll here. Can you ever have too much tackle? I mean,
it's not possible. It's
I don't think it's possible either.
With one caveat: when you start running out of places to put the tackle, that's when it becomes a problem. But
have too many tackle boxes. Those 3,700. I have spares of those. I know one of the guys that's every time Plano does something, they send a bunch of stuff to me. I got to have breakfast with them at one classic a few years ago. They were bringing out all this new stuff, and I walked in, and the guy had like the biggest duffel bag of stuff to give me, and I'm like, this is the greatest day of my life. I'm not going to have to buy Plano boxes for years. I bought them 6 months later. you never, or I give them to people or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
It is.
I've got a ton of those I could give away too. I've got so many boxes. I really like the Busby boxes. I've started using those more and more, and I like them a lot.
JP says you can never have too much tackle.
I agree. It's true.
So what else is happening just Hellabass isn't putting any videos up. I saw that. I mean, he's killing me.
He's not putting any up, or
he's been working so hard. I don't know what the hell he's working on, but he needs to put some damn videos up.
Well, he's probably getting ready for his tournament season. He's gonna try for the elites this year.
Oh, really?
I don't know. But why not? Why not? He's a good fisherman.
Yeah. So what else is happening on your channel here?
Not a ton. So I'm gonna be doing my live stream on Saturday night. Working on a video or two, but nothing really in the pipeline. And you're probably not going to see a lot because I am going to spend the next couple of weeks kind of getting ready for my Lake of the Ozarks tournament.
Oh yeah,
it's literally just around the corner.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go to. I'm going to pay tribute to Topwater Johnny. I think Friday morning.
You are, huh?
I'm going to go over there and fish the lake he and I fished, because the water quality is a little bit different, and it's just outside of Lake Apopka. So I got a feeling that I might hit it perfect. I got a little bit of a feeling, and so I'm going to go over there and walk the etches. Even though I should pay tribute and just use Topwater, but that ain't going to happen. I'm going to have to use a worm for sure. But I'm going to go over there and try to do a video and just say thanks.
one thing I am looking forward to this year is I got a 4-year-old grandson that's moved back here to where I'm at.
Nice.
And he's already asked me, when are we going fishing? When are we going fishing? So I can't wait to take him out, and hopefully he gets the bug, because he doesn't even know anything about it yet. We'll see if he takes to it or not.
So all of the kids that I've given fishing rods to at Thomas's swim camp, the swim league, are all older kids. They're all like, Thomas is 11, so most of the kids are 13 and 14. So the other day, one of the kids came up to me and said, I almost caught my PB. And Thomas goes, well, how big is your PB? And he goes, oh, it's only 4 pounds. And Thomas goes, I've caught bigger ones than that. His head doing this and stuff. And so the young man's name is Dami. So Dami says to me, well, Thomas, you should come over and we'll fish. Now Dami's like ridiculous fast compared to Thomas in the pool. So Thomas said to him point blank, you don't want me to come over because I'll outfish you.
Holy crap.
My boy.
Oh, it sounds like it. Holy cow.
Because Dami only uses like shiners and stuff, and I told him, we come over, we're not buying shiners. You're going to learn how to use a plastic worm or a lizard or a chatterbait or something. We're not buying bait. And it was just too perfect, because Thomas is like, Daddy, put the worm on and let me outfish him. And I'm
holy crap, Hellabass is in town where I'm at. What are you doing in Olathe, Hellabass?
Oh, yeah.
He's in the same town as me.
What is he doing in your town?
Olathe is just down the road from me. I don't know. Wonder what he's doing down there.
He's stalking you.
The water's frozen.
Is it?
Well, the big lake that may not be, but all the small water's frozen right now.
What's the temperature up there right now?
Hey, Google, what's the temperature?
The temperature in Kansas City currently is 16 degrees. Due to current wind conditions, it feels like it's 5.
What?
Feels like 5 degrees right now. I know Hellabass ain't out fishing.
Let me do mine. Hey, Google, what temperature is it? Weather.
The temperature in Kansas City right now is 16 degrees.
Stop.
Due to current wind
Hey, Google,
conditions,
stop.
it feels like it's 5.
73. You dog. You suck, man. You suck.
It was 90 degrees today.
Hellabass, if you want to go out to lunch tomorrow, if you're in town, let me know. I'll take you to a real place. I'll take you to good eating.
The barbecue place or the chicken place?
Barbecue. You got to go to barbecue in KC.
We should tell everybody, every time you and I talk to each other, one of the two of us is eating lunch.
I know it. We are.
Every time we talk, you're either eating or I'm eating. It's so funny. I'm like, what are you eating? You're barbecue. I'm like, oh.
Oh my goodness, man. I freaking love barbecue, and we got it in this town.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's for sure. Okay, well, why don't we wrap this up? I'm going to call my stepmom because she has texted me 9 times since 9 o'clock.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Hellabass Joe's is great, dude. In my opinion, it's the second best barbecue in town.
What's the best?
Q39.
Q39.
Q39. You won't regret Joe's though. Joe's is excellent.
Brisket or chicken or pork? What do you get? Just out of curiosity.
Oh my gosh, man. They have the best burnt ends.
Oh my God.
The burnt ends are fantastic. The brisket's fantastic. And I'll tell you what else is fantastic that almost nobody gets, and it is out of this world. Pork belly. Pork belly is freaking amazing. Hellabass. Joe's is across from your hotel. Dude, that is a freaking amazing place. You got to go there, dude.
So do they put like, this is going to sound stupid, and please ignore my ignorance. Do you put does Kansas City barbecue have like a sauce that they put on everything?
Yes.
They unsauce it.
It's
Vinegar
saucy.
based, or what is it?
It's saucy.
So it's ketchup based or vinegar?
I don't know, to tell you the truth. It's sweet. It's
Okay,
sweet.
probably ketchup.
But it's fantastic, man. Here, I know, like you go to Texas, they have more of the dry barbecue.
Yeah.
You know, we don't. Ours is not dry.
Yeah.
It's sloppy. It's very messy.
Yeah, that's what I like. I like it to drip down here, and you get to taste it like 2 days later.
Oh my goodness, it's fantastic. Yeah, it is. Yeah. All right.
Next week, Cousin Ken.
Cousin Ken next week. Bassmaster Classic show. Be sure you get your fantasy fishing picks in before the classic.
Yep.
Be fun.
Yep.
Hope you guys have a great night. Close us out, Steve.
Remember, take a kid fishing. Get your fish on.